Hey, welcome to Hear Us Out. I'm Paul,
And I'm Patrick.
and today we're going to be talking about AI.
Yeah, the future is coming and it's replacing us all.
It really is. We're going to be talking about AI. It's very popular right now. Conversation because of which could some of the events of the Oscars and films that have been featured in it. The Brutalist and
Amelia
Emily, yeah,
Perez had
Perez as
some
well.
audio vocal enhancement, I believe they
Yes,
call it.
for the specifically. So to clarify on just the Brutalist and the Amelia Perez
Yeah.
movies things, in the Brutalist it was used in two areas, which is one is specifically for I think the architectural designs of certain buildings, and then actually the design the buildings themselves.
Well, no, the visual part was they used AI to recreate some kind of they used it as inspiration for some of the fictional schematics and drawings apparently, but then actual artists then created the actual renders in the building.
Yeah, the
So
CGI kind of
it
elements.
was it was low level, but it still existed there as inspiration. And there's a few frames in the movie that are probably AI sketches, that are there. But I think maybe the one that's caught people's attention more is Reese Beecher, or is it Revoicer? I can never remember which. Reese
Reese
Beecher,
Feature.
yeah. Sorry. Revoicer is another company that does a very similar thing, by the way. Anybody who's into all this, um, yeah, that's around fixing Adrian Brody and her name just escaped me, Felicity Jones. Uh, their Hungarian pronunciation, so some tonality in the way they pronounce their Hungarian. And in Emilia Perez, similarly, but this time for Spanish. And it's
And
all going to come out when we talk about it, Paul.
yeah,
But essentially, they can monkey with anything you do in a movie.
yeah. So we're going to be talking about it in the context of essentially AI in filmmaking and how we feel about that and where our lines are drawn. And let me tell you, this is going to be an interesting conversation between me and Patrick. Um,
Yeah.
so
I think
okay,
it's well, Paul. I think it's fair to say I'm going to get it out there. This was my plan all along was to be open with the audience and say I am the Luddite in this case. I do not believe that generative AI has a future in the creative arts that I want, but I also am not dumb. And anybody out there who wants to be stupid and stick their head in the sand just because they're very close to this and it's emotions overthinking, it's going to be part of it. So I think, from my point of view, the most important thing is that we have these conversations early and accurately because I don't want human creativity to be wiped out just because we didn't have the right fight at the right time.
yeah, and I'm the dumb one who doesn't think it should be in filmmaking at all.
Oh no, I
To a
agree with
level,
that.
to a
But
level.
I agree with that. But you actually, so you don't think it's inevitable. You think we'll be able to stop it right now.
I think that we can turn the tide against this kind of thing, like to a certain
I mean, in
extent.
reality, though, like not in our hopes and our dreams, but you actually think
No, I
in
think
reality
I
we can
think
reverse AI.
yes, I think we can reverse. I think we can reverse it or at least hold it to a level, which like
Cool.
um
Well, that's what I want
and
too. So I'm the same as Paul.
okay.
I'm as optimistic.
But yeah, I think yeah, and I'm also going to be a little bit more fiery about this because I'm just like, fuck you, AI. Yeah. So what you yeah. So look, AI in a sense is slowly encroaching into the filmmaking industry in many facets of the kind of production in the pre-production and post-production kind of elements, which goes that being sound, visuals, which goes even writing in some regards and stuff like that. Funny enough, I think a story came out about the Brutalist being partly written by AI. I don't think it's true,
Yeah,
kind
I
of
think
thing, but
that's everybody throwing wood onto a
yeah,
fire.
this is
Yeah,
this is the elements of kind of things. It's just like if you've used it once, and obviously you've used it for everything, and it's just like
yeah.
that's not true. There is supposed to be an AI written film at some point coming out, but I won't probably watch that.
No,
But yeah, so yeah, there's many facets that AI is going to touch, kind of things, and I guess the where the borderline or the line in the sand is going to be kind of slightly different. for everybody, which is in this conversation. But I think, yeah, as Patrick said, it's good to have this conversations early on, kind of thing, and try to be. I'm not going to be able to do it, but try to be as least emotional about it, and just be like, try to be slightly realistic and stuff like that. I get,
If geopolitical politics has taught anybody anything at the moment, it's better to take your emotions out and make sure you win the important fights.
yeah,
That's
that's
the way
true.
I feel about it. Because I'm probably, to be fair, I think, and people on the internet will hate this. I'm more anti AI than Paul. I think on a basic level, I am just maybe a little bit more pessimistic about the future. Because Paul, I think you're living in a beautiful land where you think you can reverse the progress that AI has made into ingraining it into everybody. If you can do that, I will be part of your resistance. I'll be red five. You can be,
Like
gold one
specifically,
leader.
yeah, in the creative industry. Like, look, it should be doing my laundry and doing my taxes. It shouldn't be making my movies. That's where I'm
Um,
at,
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing. Um,
Well, do you wanna maybe take the Brutalist as an example to start, and let's just let's be real about this. It's very easy for people to go, oh, AI is awful. How dare they use AI? AI is terrible. But when you're making a movie for less than $10 million, which they did, and anybody else making that's considered a low budget movie these days,
yeah,
which I know sounds crazy to all of us who that would be an absolute fortune to. But in this grand scheme of making a movie, it's small budget. Low budget filmmaking is benefiting from people being able to bring their visions to life, be that, sound, writing, imagery. They're shortening their production processes, they're saving money, they're cutting costs. It's giving new filmmakers a chance. There are many new filmmakers that seem to be the ones who are saying, quit picking an AI. I need it because I'm not Spielberg yet. He gets money handed to him. I have to fight for every dollar I have. And I do, like, I dip my head to that going, okay, I completely understand. I am living in this wonderful cheap seat out here where I get to say what I'd love the world to be like. And it really is an emotional plea to go, no, I don't want humans and their creativity to ever be diminished. I just think it's important to work out where the tools start and stop and where the actual AI taking over humans' creativity and jobs begins. What would you say to somebody with $1 million and a dream of making a movie that they can never make for $1 million without AI?
well, like we've done it in the past though. Like, as in,
What do you mean?
we've talked about this on the channel where lower budgets has made more creativity, because you need to figure a way around these things and stuff like that. So they've,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
so
but what about?
but the
Yeah,
problem is that, like, with AI essentially kind of helping you out there, it's more easy to kind of just go, yeah, we'll just do it that way, instead of kind of going, well, how do we fix this problem? How do we figure the creative way around this and stuff like that? It's very kind of easy to just be like, well, we'll just have AI just kind of develop it because it's cheaper and easier, and we can get us, the exact
I
way
got to
we
be
want
devil's
it.
advocate for those people, though, Paul. If one of them was sitting with us, that's easy. It's easy for me to think that, and for us to say. Um, but there was a time, every piece of technology that's come along in cinema that has made it easier. People were laughing at people making movies on iPhones until they realized, wow, you can actually be very creative with an iPhone and it's very cost effective. Lighting became cheaper. Painted backgrounds gave way to digitally generated backgrounds. Now, they were digitally generated by tools that people could buy and afford. Did that make them any less creative? Did that make them any less problem solving? Surely not using something that's available to you to solve your problem, to fulfill your vision to the best of its ability, again, is really easy to say when it doesn't affect us. But for them, they're like, you want me to take half my budget and remove half the soul of my movie to try and, work around this when I know everybody else has access to this AI tool over here. And it's not going to change the content of my movie for anything other than it's no longer going to distract the viewer. It's going to make my audio better when I need it to be better because I can't film on a soundstage. I have to film at a football game, that sort of thing.
But we got I understand where you're coming from, but like we wouldn't have gotten such interesting kind of things of like the James Cameron in Aliens, the armored personnel carrier was an airport tug
Yep.
thing, which he saw and was just like that'll be a great idea,
Yeah.
and cheaper and stuff like that than essentially like creating another thing. The mirror thing in Alien as well, where they had multiple pods, but it's actually just a mirror placed up against two of them.
Genius.
Like there's genius places where creativity can be used and stuff like that that gives a more kind of authentic feel to the movie and stuff. And like I get your point in the sense that like
But
I don't want to try stifle people's creativity and stuff like that. I just think there's an element that will lose if essentially you can just generate AI and stuff like that. That's more where I'm coming from as this kind of thing. Like I definitely get the point of kind of going, well, I can't make my movie. Like, is that fair when other people are using the tools, which is with AI in them and stuff? Like I do get it. It's just that I feel that essentially an element will be lost if essentially everything is just going to especially at a certain budgetal level is
what
going
this
to
brings
start
us
it.
to what's lost for the end viewer and for the artistic vision. And again, I have to play devil's advocate here, Paul. Like, you know what? I'd love it if you'd play devil's advocate for a while, but no, I'm going to have to be the shit here and talk
Well, no, no,
against my
no,
own
no. I
interests.
like.
But no, no, and this is the very easy example. What if somebody has a budget to capture audio and they capture audio as best as they can, and then they use all the tools at their disposal to make that audio better for their vision and for the end user? But some of those tools have definitely incorporated AI because that's going to be a future. It is a factor today.
Yeah,
You know, like it's since the dawn of CGI, we've been talking about the pros and cons of computers being involved. But before that, it would have been, any other technological advancement. Using different types of lighting would have been frowned on at one time or another. You're not using natural light. You're not really an artist. Um,
I guess
but
I
what are you
get
going to tell that guy that's like, yeah, I've made my movie, but one whole section of our sound is completely crapped and we cannot go back there. We cannot get that situation again. I know I can fix this. I'm not letting anything generate my creativity. I'm letting a tool realize my creativity.
like if you could if I guess you'd stress as much as possible like a film like an audio engineer to be able to do it as much as possible, kind of thing. But if it can't be, then I guess you have to if you wanted to come out and stuff like that, you have to use AI. I'm not going to be particularly happy about it. I think that the filmmaker should have the possibility of going back,
But but
but
was anything lost if it's the filmmaker's creativity and the tool only enables that to happen? All they're doing
it
is
depends.
using AI, but it's to fix a problem that they had.
It
That's not actually
depends.
AI taking over creativity. That's AI realizing someone's creativity.
Yeah, but it like the problem is a very open kind of thing. If you have like disrupted, corrupted like sound file and an AI thing can rebuild it, I'm like I can definitely understand why you would use that. We already use
Hmm.
algorithms to do that.
Yeah.
If you were essentially to resound it and to make it sound different, and essentially had an AI do that, and you had very little of the inputs and stuff like that from a human audio engineer, and essentially you were just auto generating something, then I would
So
have a
you're
more of a problem.
recognizing the difference there, that even though it's, let's say, quote unquote, generative AI was used, but it was used because there was no human alternative, and it was not to create anything that the person hadn't already conceptualized creatively. It was
Yeah,
only to realize. And that's my entire point in a nutshell. There's a huge difference between saying AI and what AI actually does.
yeah.
Context
No,
always matters.
yeah. If
And in
you,
the context of replacing a human sound engineer, get the hell out of here.
yeah,
In the context of, I don't know what to do with this and I'm just recreating it. Oh, look what AI did for me. Get the hell out of here. But I have all 10 reels of my movie, but my 11th reel is screwed. My 11th file is corrupted, whatever way you want to put the situation. Even though it's actually technically generative AI, if it's still going to the original creative vision, I don't see it as stealing any creativity if it's something that a human couldn't have done.
No. I think rebuilding essentially corruptions and stuff like that, like actual faults and stuff like that, that actually, like, if you were to think of it in a logical kind of computerized sense, like, because we have tools for, because I'm a coder, like, we have tools to essentially, like, pinpoint essentially problems within our code and stuff like that, and then we also have like auto completes and stuff like that to help us kind of generate the right kind of tools or the right kind of code and stuff like that. They are essentially
Yeah.
assistants, but they're not essentially taking away from essentially what my element within them think. They're assisting me, kind of thing. So, like, yeah, that kind of level of stuff where it's like it's not specifically taken away from a human, and
But if an
it's
audio engineer uses something that's going to manipulate a human's performance,
see, this
that's
is
where the gray area starts.
yes. See, this is the thing, because, like, um where essentially if it's like altering, because it's the age, I guess we're slightly going into the Adrian Brody kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think he should have won the Oscar for best performance because of it. And it's
Right.
it's primarily based on the use of essentially AI to essentially alter his performance. And I know that it was such a small amount and kind of
Hmm.
things, but I think that is essentially a slippery start to a slope that I do not want. And I think that making a stand here in that kind of, like, and specifically for certain types of movies and stuff like that, I think it's very
Okay.
specific, because they said they have said that, like, they altered it to make it more authentic, which means that the original one was okay. There was no problems with it. It was just to make it more authentic. So, like,
It was specific Hungarian pronunciation, and
yeah,
the director happens to be, Hungarian
and
speaker who's like,
Adrian Brody's parents are also Hungarian as well.
yeah, but and as he pointed out, just because Adrian Brody's parents were Hungarian, didn't actually give him the gift of good Hungarian pronunciation, which I completely get. I'm sure my parents over the years would have said that I have not done them proud with
I
some of my pronunciations.
but I'm more stating the fact is that, like,
Yeah.
I think his performance would have been fine without the alterations. They said that they were only making them more authentic, which makes it sound like
Again, is this the director's creativity being realized, or is this? So you were fine with, and I guess this is the question to help everybody kind of understand the point that's being made here. Because again, and I have to repeat it because I'm in the shitty devil's
I'm
advocate seat here.
sorry, I'm really sorry. Please, people,
Because
realize that
it's
Patrick
making
is
it look like because I'm the one that's more anti AI than him. Genuinely, I think at this point it can be said. But realistically, Paul, you would be fine with the Brutalist winning Best Picture, but not Adrian Brody, because the creativity or the creative vision of the director was realized by fixing those things.
but
But because Adrian Brody didn't manage to perform them perfectly to the director's vision, it's actually a ding on him and not a ding on them.
yeah, I guess that's a good point, in the sense that it feels more that because essentially best actor is about the best actor and best actress is essentially about their authentic performance and stuff like that. That's where my problem is. But
Mm.
essentially understanding the use of essentially, because understanding the use of tools and stuff like that in the full process of creating a beautiful masterpiece, which
Yeah.
is okay, because as you stated before, Avatar uses CGI and uses, algorithms and stuff like that. Should it not win Best Picture? I would say that it
No,
shouldn't,
because it's not
because
good
it's
enough.
not a great
Okay.
movie. But
Exactly.
um, which is yeah, I think that specifically for performances, because I want it to be shown to directors and stuff like that, and actors themselves, that essentially using any AI to alter performances like, and as you say, to for a creative purpose, because it is to enhance the vision of the director, because they believe that the actor didn't do a good job at their performance.
And is
They
that down to the director giving bad direction or not enough time, or you know,
but it's
then there comes a question of, is it? I'd just like to state one other thing really quickly. Like, to hell with Adrian Brody, I thought it was a real piece of crap move to run long in his speech, because not everybody gets to do that, and I just want that out there. I want that on record somewhere, Paul. So sorry, let me
No,
get that.
that's perfectly fine. I actually should have opened unless you could just like you have something to say about Adrian Brody.
Because Adrian Brody really annoyed me by being like, "Yeah, I've been here before. I can." No, he
Yeah.
pondered along, and you only get your time. Get the hell off stage. Um, but
But
genuinely though, I feel that, and this is me, not just devil's advocate, saying I understand what you're saying. I have a fear there though that if a director or a creator gets a free pass too much, and it's the person who's had their voice, or in this case change, let's say, that it could be seen as their bad performance, whereas maybe they gave the performance that they were told to give as far as they could see, and it was an inability of communication or a lack of time. And is a lack of time an actor's problem? There's another gray area that kind of opens up there as to, well, how did you get into this position in the first place that it wasn't right, Mr. Director? Is it maybe not your fault more than Mr. Actor over here?
but this the thing is because if you start essentially because essentially the studio wins the best picture and the director and the team, the
Yeah,
actor wins the best picture part. So or the best actor part. If you start having people not being allowed to win awards because they will not join directors and houses that specifically will alter your
I get you.
performance. That's where
And I owe
where
you an apology there, Paul. I forgot that we'd brought in the Oscars into this now, because again, I could give a crap less about the
but
Oscars.
this but
And when it comes to this, I understand, yeah, and you can make your point as to why you're using them. But from my point of view, any discussion that's had at the Oscar level has to be had at the non-Oscar level too, as to the validity of work. But I think the point you're making is separate to that, and also a good one. You're talking about setting examples, I'm thinking, right?
yes, so essentially because best actors and like best actors awards essentially make you more marketable for bigger movies and stuff like that.
Hmm.
You will want to gain those things. Like I get it that like
Oh yeah,
but so like this is the thing is big actors will not work with directors who alter their performances with AI in a kind of non as we say in the kind of like creative more kind of and performance level side, but like correcting problems and faults specifically that a human cannot correct, which is as we say that's okay, but this is as you say this is a director's vision that they need to alter a performance of an actor to be better, and that actor has now won the best performance things.
and
I feel that
and
the
you're saying that
actor,
by sending this message, actors would say, "I'm not signing up if you're ever going to do that to me."
yes,
Gotcha.
that's kind of things which I think would then stifle the use of AI in certain roles within the filmmaking industry,
I hear you.
kind of thing. Because I
Well,
think that if you because it's the same thing as if you sign a contract saying that you have my likeness and stuff like
mm,
that. That like I don't like that. I don't like the idea of
well,
someone
James Earl Jones has said, "Hey, look, Darth Vader's bigger than me. You can use my voice for him."
mm,
And that's his choice, and I respect it. Do I have an issue with it? In that case, I kind of don't in some ways, because that's James Earl Jones saying, my performance and in this one character. Now, it's a different story if you just start James Earl Jonesing all the parts all over the world. But he's like, that character, I know when that character was born, and I know when that character died, because we filmed those things.
hmm
Well, not the birth. Well, actually, the birth technically. Um, so yeah, we've got the twins being born too. So he knows that it's a specific window, and those cases
mm.
are going to be rare, where someone says for a
Uh,
character that I know its entire span of. If you're filling in lower or going back, I'm okay with it. That's a rare
yeah,
case. I
see,
think going forward, it's going to be much, much worse.
yeah, it's kind of yeah, like if you were to get the likeness of Mark Hamill, and then you were to and like not to have like Luke turn up in a kind of small vision kind of thing specifically for one character, but you had him like in other films, like just because you had the likeness. I would definitely that's more of an issue. But if
Yeah.
if Luke if Mark Hamill was just like use my likeness for obviously like flashbacks or something specifically to this character, like that is a creative and personal choice of an actor themselves.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
using it as a library thing that they can just use willy nilly,
Well, if they make Field of Dreams too, and it's like, the afterlife, and James Earl Jones is there with Ray Liotta and everybody else, and they're all being digitally recreated, I'm going to get pretty pissed off. So yeah, no, I'm with you.
Yeah.
But Paul, can I ask one question related to what you just said though? Is there a gray area in, because we're throwing around this term AI and generative AI very loosely,
Hmm.
because these are tools at the end of the day,
Yeah.
and more software and more quote unquote tools are incorporating AI in themselves
Hmm.
in more and more subtle ways. You know, there's obvious ones and then there's less obvious ones. You know, generating an image, obvious, but helping you with your color grading because you've got an automatic, you know, give me auto daylight here, which has been an algorithm before, but now is just much better because it's AI trained. You don't necessarily overtly see it. So how much of this do we have to consider the gray area of, for me, I guess the question is, very much coming down on the side of it's about creative. It's about creation. It's about that, as opposed to it's about whether or not a tool does something, you know, with less human input than it used
Hmm.
to take. Because we've been just building efficiency on efficiency on efficiency for years and years and years.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a future where you take AI out of that efficiency loop. But I'm the one that wants to pick that really big right fight and go, if you use it to replace your creativity, you're no longer creating. That's it.
I would. So I guess, yeah, yeah. Okay, so I'll answer to myself. I'll answer because obviously, like, yeah, you're more on the side of kind of, or you don't want to take the creative elements out of the thing at all, which I
Yeah.
agree with. I like, on that part. Do not want to take the creative thing out. I also think that if you are removing a job that a human does,
Mm,
I would
yeah.
also
Yeah.
say no. And then my emotional part, the emotional part that's completely illogical and probably, as you say, the dumb part, the dumb people at the start. I would also prefer tools that are used for filmmaking not to have as much, like, have to have AI as much as
Agreed.
possible in it. You
Agreed.
know, so like
But
that's my three levels. So like,
I emotionally agree with that last one. But can
yes,
you realistically agree that
my
we have to be just emotional on it,
the
unfortunately? Because
furthest the fir- so the I do not want to remove a job
oh yeah,
from, and it doesn't, I don't like, it doesn't just need to be a creative job. I don't want to remove a
nope,
human, no, like, I know that you're not saying
completely
that
agree.
either. Yeah.
No, completely agree.
That's where my kind of level is, that like, I get that we're going through this efficiency loop of being able to have this
Mm.
tool to assist us and stuff like that, but if that assistant was originally another human, I'm kind of like, ugh, why are you,
Well, I'm going to use that example because Abigail blew my mind. We're living in Ireland for anybody who hasn't worked it out from the accent. And Abigail was filmed here, and there was a shot in it that I jumped out of my chair and paused Abigail while watching, and I'm like, oh my god, that's Dublin. That's the River Liffey. It's just shot at an angle that Dublin people and Irish people never see. But I also, my little weird car nerd brain, spotted on the streets. Hang on, none of those. They're not Irish cars. Somebody has comped in. They used compositioning. They added in American style vehicles to make this look like it would be somewhere in
like new,
America or Canada. You know,
yeah,
North American, let's call
like
it.
New England or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like wherever they were trying to set it, they were going, hey, hey, look. But they transposed Dublin just by shooting it, not changing buildings. But somebody went and sat down and peppered in the necessary little bits of furniture and cars and that kind of thing.
Hmm.
Now, somebody had to do that.
Yeah.
And I want them to have their job because AI could create that. And I still consider that creativity. That's the important thing, that
Yep.
creativity as a function. Because I don't want absolutely everybody to always keep their job under all circumstances. Jobs are going to change, you know, because you never win the argument with the people. And sorry,
Sure.
Tesla people, it tends to always be you guys. You never win the argument with people who are like, well, we'd all still be riding around on horses if we didn't get on the boat with cars. It's like, that's too simplistic a view. I do think that people who add value, add creativity, and have a job that is an addition, I don't think that you're going to need to have, you know, 20 people holding up a crane so the camera operator can be on it now that we have hydraulic cranes.
Hmm.
You know, they used to be swinging dollies around and you have teams of people lifting sandbags. Again, hydraulics and machinery came along. Those jobs may and the analogs of those jobs will still go at some stage as things change. That's why I focus on the creativity part and making that a very wide definition of what creativity is to keep everybody in the filmic arts inside it.
Yeah, so I would agree that you need to keep a human being able to comp essentially like items over other cars and stuff like that. Just in that
So they
example.
can add their flair to it while they're doing it.
Well, there's
Exactly.
also the fact is that like as much as an AI, like we've already seen kind of at this point in time specifically that AI also kind of screws that up, and it seems like it's like a
Yeah.
super like you need a
But it
human to
mightn't
be able to.
tomorrow.
Huh?
That's the
Yes,
thing
but
with AI, but it mightn't
yeah,
tomorrow,
but
and that's why it scares me.
I don't think essentially removing that job and stuff like that is any way. I think a human essentially looking and comping that is very important, and I don't think AI should be auto generating essentially like overlays on that kind of sense. Even like backgrounds and stuff like that. I don't think kind of things. But I know that you're getting to a place where the crowd thing, because I think there's an
Oh,
element.
sorry. Yeah. Spoiler alert. Myself and Paul talked crowds before.
Yes, we talked about crowds. So we both agreed that if it removes essentially jobs, then I don't agree with it.
Yeah, yeah. In shorthand, but like I think we both have a different opinion on how it could affect, basically background extras.
So yes,
I
so
know there's a library of background extras now, and people have given away their likeness and all sorts of things. And there's years and years of stock, and people have been cutting and pasting the Grecian hordes for years, attacking Gladiator or wherever it might be,
yeah,
or football crowds or whatever.
hmm,
My issue is that those things eventually did kind of time out, not even just legally, but just stylistically. Um, I think the future of the extra worries me. I'm not okay with crowds of thousands being generated off absolutely nothing because you can currently generate based on nothing in AI. We all know it's not really based on nothing. They've already stolen enough that that's where AI is really getting its basis to go from. But we can't do anything about that in this conversation. But even crowds of 10 people sitting in the back of coffee shops, sitting in the back of bars,
no, I
I,
don't.
I think that's coming and I'm really, really pissed off because I don't think that's cool at all.
Yeah, so I agree that the coffee shop or the street level and stuff like that, where people are walking around and stuff like that, should not be removed from the extras, kind of like a portfolio and stuff like that. My thing is that motion capture of crowds has already happened,
Yes,
which
I
means
know.
that they can now superimpose. So my problem is that crowds of thousands are already currently being
We've already
generated.
lost.
Yes, and I wish that we could go back to having hundreds of thousands of people, like building up a crowd of like zombies and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
that has
or
all.
even 10 that were then using computer generation to do it.
Yeah,
But you're
yeah,
right.
like
Everything's just been
even
modeled,
one
so you just recreate it now. Even one.
even one
Yeah.
person who's hired and just copy and paste it, and it's very obvious that they're just going
Yeah.
left or right or forward or slightly standing in. Yeah, but that ship has
But
sailed
yeah, mocapping
before
is gone
AI
too.
has
You're
come
not.
into it. Hmm?
Yeah, you're right. You're and like there's nobody doing remocap for these things because now you can do that. Like there's been so much, there is such a library that it's rare that people are going to want to go, okay, we've got to get somebody in to actually mocap for this because the library is so deep. And
Yeah,
that saddens me in a way. And that one, I know there's my emotion showing, no sense, all emotion. I'm the dumbass here, by the way. When I call out dumbasses, I always include myself in that. But when we let our emotions get in the way, we stop thinking, and then some evil prick wins the argument, and AI owns us all, and we're watching shit with ads in it all day long.
yeah. So I guess the conversation about essentially the mocap libraries that are now being able to be used to now, which could put texture on to have multiple different crowds and stuff like that. I think that conversation we're years like past the point in which we
I
should have
I
had
agree.
it. Which is good that we're having this specific conversation at the start of it, kind
Well,
of things.
Paul, do you think anybody watching this is going to remotely agree with this? Because I think you're going to find it's going to be a 90-10, and it's 90-10 against us. Because people love the idea that they can now generatively create, which is wonderful. I just
I don't.
I've created and I've been around people who are creative, and it's beautiful and it's magical and it should never be one click where you're surprised what came out. If you hit generate and you're like, oh look at that, that's cool. you haven't created something.
No.
And I will get internet hate for saying that.
Nope.
But you haven't.
You haven't.
I've been around people with a pencil and a blank piece of paper, and they've created. And it's beautiful, it's stunning, and it's emotional. And we're going to lose that.
I think you know where I stand specifically from my partner, who is an artist. If you are a AI artist, you're not an artist. All right, you're an AI engineer, a prompt engineer. Yeah, you're not a creative or anything like that. You are stealing images that have been like put into the AI.
And to all the prompt engineers out there, like, I don't hate you for doing your job and making your money, because a lot of prompt engineers aren't doing it around imagery specifically, etc.
Yes.
So nobody take what Paul just said the wrong way.
Yeah, we're not generalizing prompt engineers. We're specifically focusing on the ones who do like who make
creative theft,
creative theft side of things. But yeah. So I think I hope that we're not like the optimistic person in me is there saying that we're not the only that this is. I would feel that this is a 50-50 more split kind of things, because I want to say that the people who are using AI to generate images and then saying that they're an artist, do you understand that if you forced AI to do like your menial tasks and stuff like that instead of creating your artists and stuff like that, you could put in the hours and like the effort to actually become an artist. Like, you know, that's the point. We're using AI in the wrong sense to me, is that we're like, I shouldn't be doing laundry anymore. My AI robot should be doing laundry so I can write my novel. That's one of my points.
And Paul, because we're going to have to go to wrap out. But honestly, folks, I don't want anybody in the comments. I want loads of people in the comments saying whatever they want, but I am going to have a problem because there's a group of people that get picked on all the time. And it's usually around music. Oh, well, why should I learn the guitar? I can write this song and AI will generate my lyrics. It'll generate music. That's fine. And then they'll always say, so it's just like all those people who sampled music in the past. Sampling is very different. And you know why? It's bloody hard. You don't crap on 40 years of people, splicing tape to doing 8-track mixing to all the amazing tools they have today. It's not easy. Just because it sounds or looks easy doesn't make it easy. It's the same as drawing a picture. Oh, sure, anybody can draw. Yeah, well then do it without the help of AI. Then tell me you can draw, okay? Same thing with singing, same thing with music, same thing with writing, particularly writing a movie. Screw the idea of AI-generated movies.
Nope.
Sorry.
I hate them. Yeah. So anyway, so let us know down in the comments down below what your thoughts of are. Do you agree with us? Do you not agree with us? Let us know where your gray area of where AI should be used in the film industry. Do you think Adrian Brody should have won Best Picture? Let's see. We got to poll that going. But yeah, which is let us know. Send a like and everything like that. If you want to hear more about our thoughts on AI in a more broader sense of just kind of what we talked about here, then let me know. Which is let us know. But otherwise, I've been Paul.
And I've been Patrick.
And we've been Hear Us Out. See you later.
See you next time.